With threats to our nation waiting around every corner, adaptability is more important than ever. When conditions change without notice, quick strategic thinking is crucial. And with obstacles consistently impending, determination is essential in overcoming them. It's this willingness, decisiveness, and resilience that sets Marines apart. With our fighting spirit, we don't just fight battles, we win them. Marines are the constant our nation counts on to fight the unknown. And through adaptable problem solving, we do just that. Learn more at marines.com.
I don't overthink it, and I try to tell the players that it's not about scheme, it's about system, it's about players, not plays. When we have what we believe in, especially when you get late into the season, now it's about creating some variations of what we already believe in.
As we've talked about all season long, self-scouting plays a crucial role in understanding our team's strengths, identifying effective plays, and gaining an advantage over opposing defenses. Today, the focus is on what goes into the game plan and how that's worked in during the later weeks of the season. We're joined by 3 offensive coordinators from the high school, college, and pro levels. We hear from Findlay offensive coordinator Kyle Ohradzansky, Fayetteville high school offensive coordinator Jay Wilkinson, and USFL offensive coordinator John Tomlinson as they share their advice for game planning and making adjustments in the late season. What you see on tape is a direct reflection of what you teach and how you teach. Video is important, but if you don't teach well, you're not going to like what you see on your video. First Down Playbook has been helping coaches teach better for 13 years. It allows you to present installs, playbooks, and practice cards in half the time with NFL quality. Coaching tools like video pairing, a player app, practice schedules, and wristband sheets have made First Down Playbook a program management system with everything in one place. If you're in a position of leadership with your football program, receive a free 1-week look at First Down Playbook. Call them at 512-814-6158 or visit them on their website or social media. Mention Coach and Coordinator Podcast or use the coupon code COACH24 to receive a $100 discount off the normal $700 First Down Playbook team membership price. Links and the phone number are in the show notes. As coaches, we know that some of the biggest hurdles to our team's success can come from off the field. Your team needs support to tackle the endless list of expenses, uniforms, training equipment, travel, and more. But raising that money can feel like a full-time job. Thankfully, there's Vertical Raise. Vertical Raise is the premier online fundraising platform using innovative technology to create the easiest and most efficient system available. Raise more money in less time with a local fundraising coach who works with your team every step of the way to customize the ideal fundraiser. With options for online donations, digital discount cards, premium product sales, and even spirit shops, Vertical Raise has top-of-the-line solutions for every fundraising style. To find out more, visit verticalraise.com and we'll get you connected with an exclusive offer on your first fundraiser. First, Findlay offensive coordinator Kyle Ohradzansky discusses the importance of self-scouting and in finding ways to work in new plays and variations into the offensive plan. He stresses the importance of creating variations within the existing offensive system to keep the quarterback safe and maintain unpredictability for the defense.
We're fortunate here that we have a big staff. Offensively, we're very flush with coaches here. And so our self-scout is critically important to understand what we've done in certain situations with certain personnels, with certain formations, motions, what have you, and then referencing back to exactly what the kids do best. That's no secret that players' formations plays came out of Alliance, Ohio a long time ago. But if we can identify things that we've done well, things that defenses need to take away from our offense, we can identify those through our self-scout and then dress them up a little bit different so that linebacker sees that same key. Now we have the advantage because we know where we're going and we can make them see that key and then give them something just a little bit different to gain that advantage.
Next, Fayetteville High School offensive coordinator Jay Wilkinson shares the importance of self-scouting and finding ways to work new plays and variations into the offensive plan. He emphasizes the value of not rushing the implementation of new plays, but rather gradually introducing them over several weeks to give your players more time to practice and gain confidence.
So one of the things my last head coach, Coach Alexander at Broken Arrow, one of his famous quotes, and he had many, but was always, find a way to work it in, don't put it in. And so towards the later part of the year, we were always kind of forecasting, okay, potential playoff matchups and kind of any chance we got, slowly looking ahead. Obviously, there were some important games where we didn't have time to look ahead, but just a, matter of peeking on down the road where, okay, all of a sudden maybe we play a man team on down the road and we haven't seen a lot of man coverage. And so we would try to work some plays into maybe week 7, 8, 9, 10 that we weren't necessarily working into that week's game plan, but for 11, 12, and 13. And so in 2019, we played a pretty big playoff game versus Union, and we were fortunate enough to have the opportunity to work some stuff in weeks 9 and 10. And so we played them week 11, first round of the playoffs, and we were down going in the fourth quarter. And I think we hit 3 plays on them to kind of come back and win the football game that we had worked in over the course of those 3 weeks. And so I think by working it in, you get a little bit more time with it. You're not as rushed to coach the kids up. They have a little bit more confidence now whenever you call it, because they feel like, it's been part of the offensive plan for 3 or 4 weeks, as opposed to something that you just throw in on a Monday, maybe working on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and it only gets practiced 3 or 4 times and you're calling it with the game on the line on Friday. So that's always been one of the big ones, is we always try to work it in, don't put it in. And that could go with schemes, trick plays. We always try to bank trick plays in the later part of the year. So, we have, always will have a reverse, a double pass, some kind of cool screen or something like that. And we put them in weeks where we may not use them, but again, we keep that bank. And that way, when we get in the playoffs, those things are at our disposal, and it's not a lot of install time taken away from the game plan that week.
We finished with USFL offensive coordinator John Tomlinson. Coach Tomlinson talks about how he recycles some of the best things from the season and how that works in putting together a game plan.
I learned this a long time ago. You always break down the breakdown. A coach has a philosophy and a belief system. He doesn't really veer away from that. And I remember when we played in the championship game, I broke down every single game from the season. Every coach had an area of responsibility, and mine was third down. And so their natural behavior always evolves around the coach's philosophy. It doesn't change. So I would, as coaches should be taught, you have your subcategories of third down, 3rd and 2 to 3, 3rd and 4 to 6, 3rd and 7 to 10, and 11 plus. What's the philosophy? Are they the type of team that's heavy pressure, single high on third down? If they're not and they play a lot of coverage, okay, well, the coach is putting together the mix downs or the early down investigation, or do they try to get you behind the chains on early downs so they can just play coverage? And so that helps you lay out your plan for your offensive scheme on third down. But everyone knows that is the most important down in football. And so for me, I don't overthink it, and I try to tell the players that it's not about scheme, it's about system, it's about players, not plays. When we have what we believe in, especially when you get late into the season, now it's about creating some variations of what we already believe in, things that they may not have seen, especially if you're playing an opponent 2 or 3 times. And we experienced that playing Michigan in the playoffs and then 2 times in the regular season. They know what you're all about, and you know what they're all about. Now the key is to just make sure you can move the chains, keep the quarterback in a safe situation, and you already know what their philosophy is. So the key is just not turning the ball over and just creating variations of what your system is.
Coach, when you're creating those variations, what's a simple process you use to figure out, okay, how are we going to dress this up and why? Because certainly there's all kinds of ways you can dress things up, but there's probably some more optimal ways than others. How do you handle that?
I tell the quarterbacks, I know you heard this, I say, hey, guys, we're going green. And they know what that means, recycling and, hey, bring your own bag to the grocery store. So I just use that in a football sense. If it's for us, if it's a run concept or a pass concept, we always want to say for whatever formations that we like to use, and this is just one of a few ways, we always want to make sure we can do more than one thing in a formation. I hate obvious tells. Hey, this is that empty formation that they run. They only run one play in this. I don't like that because it's an obvious tell. Now they play it. But for us, if we line up in a particular formation, they have no clue what we're doing. And so that's what I like to do. Love motions and shifts. And so for us, we want to make sure we have, some multiple things that we do so we can recycle the formation. Run, multiple runs, multiple pass, and it makes it easy for the quarterback now. Because if it's a particular formation and he says they're always zero in this, well then we already know exactly what we're going to do. Let's put a run in this situation and a pass because he knows what they're doing, makes it easier for his eyes. Or whether for us it's a concept, we'll take a concept and run it in multiple formations. So now if it's a drive concept, he knows that's pure progression. The formation at this point really doesn't matter. He knows how he's going to read through it. But for that defense, it's something that they haven't seen us do. And so, we did some of these little, if you want to call them wrinkles, as we got towards the end of the season, because he's seen the concept from week 1 to week 7, it was easier for him to be able to read it out, regardless of what they did on the back end. So, we had a shallow concept we ran pretty much for the most of the year. And so it was in our empty package. It was also in our 11 personnel package. When we had the back end, that is. So he's seen this thing in multiple flavors, and so it was easy for him to progress through it. We literally could go full speed and tempo with it because he was used to the concept. Also had a concept that we had in our running game where it was a jet sweep with a quarterback run. Well, he was running it so long throughout the season, it was easy for us to put it in empty. All right, and then we already had our shallow series in the empty. So we had a run and a pass in just one particular empty set. Did the same thing in our 11 personnel when we had the back in the backfield. Same exact run, all right, and pass concept, and he was able to read through it. And so for us, all we did was just reuse those things, and as we ran them through the season, it made it easier for him. And the defense now didn't have beads on it. They didn't understand exactly what we were doing because we would mix it up a little bit, just enough to where they didn't understand what the direct tell is, and then we had a pass concept and a run concept in. So we did that in some multiple ways, but we started our day one installs with some of these things, and as the quarterback became more comfortable, we just added little wrinkles as we progressed through the season.
The late season isn't the time for something new. It's the time for something that has been the best for you. As these three coaches pointed out, the self-scout informs you of those strengths and weaknesses. What you know about the opponent allows you to build answers, and being creative and methodical about how you present those in the late season will help you create a winning formula. Keep tuning in all season long as we take you through the different phases of the regular season, through the playoffs, and all the way into season wrap-up. Be sure to go to coachingcoordinator.com to sign up for a weekly tip sheet, which summarizes the best ideas from each week.